astrology and other divinatory arts are not a replacement or substitute for physical or psychiatric health care. If this is an emergency situation or you are in crisis, please do not defer your wellness to readings or horoscopes. Seek situation-appropriate, qualified assistance instead. Blessings, everyone! It's time for another major astrological transit examination, and in this video we are talking all about the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus, which is taking place on November 8th, 2022, and it's 3 months of influence that is holding over each and all of us, which goes all the way up until, of course, the end of week 1 of February 2023. Remember, full moons, new moons, solar eclipses, lunar eclipses last longer than just the date they occur on. Normal full moons and new moons last about 2 weeks in their influence, and eclipses last about 3 months, or roughly 90 days in their influence. When it comes to a full moon lunar eclipse, the focus is on culminations, advancement, transitions, and endings. And I have teased this full moon already, given a little bit of a sound bite for each sign in the monthly astrological forecasts for November, if you've already seen them. If not, you can check them out on my main channel page. But I am going to also include, of course, a list in the down bar below of each sign and what areas of life are going to be primarily affected by this eclipse and its big focus. When we talk about culminations, transitions, and endings, we are looking at a situation that is ready for graduation, which is why I have titled this video Moving Out and Moving On, Enforced Evolution and Progress. And lunar eclipses are the enders. They are the movers. Eclipses can be very stressful for people sometimes when it comes to the topic of astrology. Solar eclipses bring in new beginnings we gotta make new room for, and lunar eclipses therefore create endings to stories, investments, commitments, and things like that that have gone on for a while and maybe have been sort of a normal in our life for a period of time. Typically with lunar eclipses, we are seeing endings of stories or normals that are at least 4 years old, typically in multiples of 4. So it could be a 4-year-old theme, an 8-year-old theme, a 12-year-old theme. With this full moon lunar eclipse being in Taurus, the sign of stability, structure, longevity, comfort, security, sensuality, health, and material resources, this can be something that looks good or even welcome on paper, but in the practice or the implementation of this transformation, it can feel extremely uncomfortable. This is one of those eclipses where it can be expected that there could be some dramas every once in a while, or some obstacles, or even a bit of conflict that gets stirred up by it. This is just something we all need to be ready to look at. A full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus is all about the good getting better, the bad getting worse, so that we can move on from the bad and embrace more of the good. But we do have, each and all of us, human egos that may stubbornly cling or emotionally attach or feel bias or preferential treatment for things that are not good for us. This, however, will be eased a little bit by the fact that this is also a full moon eclipse that is conjunct Uranus, which is currently retrograde. And Uranus retrograde in Taurus is all about refining and easing progress, freedom from liabilities that may be, slowing down growth in your life, preventing you from maybe some kind of big move or big transfer, big graduation moment, big level up, big promotion. It's all about rearrangement and quietude, new stability and new support that is more enduring and up to date. We have the North Node also helping out with this, because with the North Node in a loose but still relevant conjunction here, the North Node being all about our biggest challenges, our biggest rewards, our true path, the roads that we are supposed to take that are in the highest interest of ourselves and all concerned. The North Node is working with that Uranus influence to help get us out of stubborn ruts, whether they are stubborn ruts we have been subjected to or stubborn ruts that we have clung to ourselves. This can also indicate a collapse or a removal of something that we're not necessarily sure what we would do without. Not because it's vital, but because it's familiar, because it's a constant, right? The continuity portion of it. Uranus, whether direct or retrograde, is still all about evolution and progress, and the North Node is all about growth and the biggest rewards for taking the harder roads, learning our lessons, as it were, advancing, educating, evolving. And so we may be feeling that pressure during this time, but there are going to be payoffs very quickly showing up alongside these culminating events to show us why it's vital that we keep our minds open and we continue forward. We've got this eclipse also forming a square to Saturn, which is currently in Aquarius, which is creating pressure and challenges to norms, rules that either indulge or empower stagnation, or maybe create a lack of progress, or allow for instability and volatility. Now, whether this is instability and volatility in a project, in a team, in a relationship, emotional or social, it does not matter, because Saturn, of course, is going to be bringing in a focus on how do we bring things back to order. And then we also have two oppositions to this eclipse from Mercury and from Venus, which are in Scorpio at the time. And so with Mercury in an opposition from Scorpio, Mercury being all about communications, messages, where the most productivity and gains are coming from, swiftness. We're talking about the breaking free and even erasure when it comes to distractions, disorganization, disharmony, confusion, imbalance. Venus in opposition here is doing the good cop thing, interestingly enough. And so we have beneficial incentives also coming in, support, love, resources, gifts, easy moves, easy roads that allow for deviation from those mid and long-term plans or patterns into things that are much more comfortable and profit us much more quickly, securely, and promise greater longevity. How we go through this, is this scary or is this not scary, can kind of show us, are there things that we are aware within ourselves, our careers, our jobs, our households, our relationships that are going to be called out by this eclipse in order to give everyone their best shot? And what are we going to necessarily do with the resources that come up to help this happen, as well as the experience of watching the good get better and the bad get worse? All of these transitions that are taking place still all come back to one focus: level ups, graduation, improvements, advancement, transitions, and endings. Because the full moon lunar eclipse is all about moving out, moving on, and forced evolution and progress that will show its benefits as we go into February of 2023. So that is what I've got for you all. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And should you ever want to get a session with me, you can go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com.